well, it is very nice to be included in a celebration like today, a celebration of life for a person that's respected by a lot of people. It's hard. It's really hard. Really hard to find someone that is respected across the board. They may be respected by their people, but then again, they're their people for a reason. But someone like this man, Alvaro, respected by anyone he comes across, respected by me. That's why I'm here. Respected. Not for what you've done, but who you are. And that is something that's missing from this business, from this sport, from this thing that I have loved my entire life. It is not anymore about the who, it is about the what. The what will only get you so far, though. Anybody can step in a ring and call themselves a wrestler. But it takes a certain type of something. I don't know where I was going with that.
That was intense, though.
See, you kind of have to gradually get there.
The crescendo effect.
Yes.
That crescendo effect is really what draws the people in, because you start soft, then you get louder. That people are drawn to that automatically. Now that's just one technique.
Mm-hmm. There's so many ways to do it. And that's the beauty of it, is that everyone talks differently. You're never going to meet someone that talks the same way. Even if they have similar cadences, there are little things, little pauses, little mannerisms that make whoever it is you're talking to who they are. And I think the goal is to find those things about you, those things that make you who you are, and amplify them. Amplify them in a way that's not so over the top, but it's large enough to get you to a point where you think you're something bigger. For a split second, you're larger, and then when it's cut, you go back to normal, But you have to believe yourself. You can't front it, because if you don't believe yourself, no one else is going to believe you. I grew up watching John Hagee almost every Sunday when I was a kid.
Who's John Hagee?
John Hagee is the head pastor at Cornerstone Church in San Antonio. He is, brother, that might be the original Teflon Jon. Yeah. He could make a sanctuary of like 5,000-6,000 people stand up to their feet in like thunderous applause multiple times in the span of like 2 hours. Jeez. This man, I watched this man every Sunday growing up. This man had thousands of people in the palm of his hand multiple times a day. Any wrestler that's listening to this, you want to learn how to cut a promo? Go to church. Go to church. No, I'm not playing. Like, go to church, because godly, man, no pun intended, sorry. You will see some of the best promos that you will ever witness in church. Because church, like wrestling, is a place where people with a common goal and a common idea come together to see a certain thing happen. It is the same atmosphere, whether it's church, whether it's wrestling, whether it's a concert, whether it's a sporting event. That's what I like to call the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is, to me, that feeling when two or more are gathered and they are there for the same purpose.
Has the way you watch wrestling changed, like from when before you were wrestling?
Absolutely.
How so?
It's not the childlike, suspension of disbelief. everything that you kind of watch it for when you first start watching it goes away. You now look at it from a analytical standpoint of, let me see how they're moving around the ring. Let me see what their timing is, what positions they're in. Are there any audibles that I can catch? I look at it from like studying film. Here are these two guys. Let me see how they work. Let me see how they move here. Okay, they go to this spot. Okay, what did I just hear? Okay, let me see how they get to that. Okay, boom. If they are about to go commercial or picture in picture, when they go to picture in picture, if they ever do, if you just watch the action, it's not anything fancy. They're mainly getting the crowd invested. They're doing things, the baby face is selling, the heel is talking trash to the crowd. Yeah, it's stuff that is old school. Let me get all these people on board with what we're doing. So that way, if you notice, when we come back from picture in picture, oh, okay, all of a sudden, like all these people are clapping for this guy, and now he's working up, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, and it's this person and this person, and oh, they're coming back, and they can go wherever from there. But it is a thought out, hey, let's give these guys some time to recharge, to get the people invested, but also like we're going to have our spots. We're going to do it smart though, to where we're not stressing ourselves out. Sometimes I wish I could go back to just being a fan Naive. That knows nothing because it was a genuinely enjoyable experience.
I love knowing nothing. I still get worried about every little injury.
Knowing, especially too, seeing a bump, and now you're like, oh man, just from taking a couple bad ones, which ones kind of sting a little more.
And I'm torn between like the side of history that wants you to keep kayfabe and the modern history that's like, we all know what it is.
I know.
What's funny is that like B and I are coming from a unique place because we're coming from the backstage area to the audience side. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing both sides. Yeah. It's
I think the way that wrestling is going now is that it's becoming, all of a sudden the backstage stuff, you kind of have to figure out which one is real and like what is this little report that I'm reading. Who said this? I think that's another thing of just like, oh man, I think everything is a work now. Yeah. It's
an added layer.
Yes, but it's not just wrestling. Because I think the idea of getting worked is a universal thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't just apply to wrestling. I know you can't work a worker. And so being one, I can kind of spot it from a mile away. I can see it, or if I don't spot it right away, I'll see little things that I'm like, ooh, wait a second.
It's like you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I'm in good company.
James Blackheart over there.
I saw him talking to the moon earlier.
It's full. Yeah, it's full tonight. I don't know if he was
so freaking beautiful today.
You should have brought your telescope.
Pick that thing up right now.
He has this big ass telescope.
Big ass telescope that probably barely fits in my car.
So now, is it fair to say that wrestling will never be what it used to be? Like when we were kids and we didn't know the difference, from a work and a shoot. Wrestling to us seemed real, but you had Hulk Hogan winding up a punch and knocking someone down.
Yeah,
but we believed it.
I think there's like levels to that. Sometimes I'll go to a show and I'll see that exact same thing. I'll see someone like wind up a punch, and
Isn't
then
it great?
It's amazing. But that's the thing is, is when it's done right, it doesn't matter if it's back then or now. Like the motion of the wind up into the punch, and if the guy, taking it just like flies into the air, everybody loves that.
Alvaro, talk to us about Wrestle Dream.
What about Wrestle Dream?
MJF's match.
Oh, snap. No, I got it. I got emotional with MJF's match. It was the handicap match.
Okay.
MJF versus The Righteous.
What got you about it?
So this started back at All In. Okay. When I was watching it from home, watching his tag match alongside Adam Cole, and his mannerisms were very hokey, you could say. Okay. But MJF is doing, he's doing this on purpose as his character. But he's doing the whole double clothesline bit, the kangaroo kick, that silly drop kick that he does. But at Wrestle Dream, he mentioned that he was going to body slam Dutch. Dutch, of course, is a huge guy. And he goes for it. He tries to body slam him. The first attempt, can't do it. His back hurts. So then the match continues. They're working his back. He goes for another body slam. He picks him up. He has Dutch up, and then Dutch falls on him. Plancha, boom, he's down. So everyone's waiting for it. And then finally, the third attempt, he's fired up, and he comes over, he fucking body slams Dutch, and the place erupts. And it took me back to when Hogan body slammed Andre, when Hogan body slammed Earthquake, when, Lex Luger body slammed Yokozuna. Like, it was an incredible feat. If you think about it as a performer, we know what they did. But MJF took me back and made me a fan. And when I was explaining it to my wife, my eyes watered up and I was bawling, like just thinking about being a kid, falling in love with pro wrestling.
Man, pro wrestling is like church. It is a place where you go to learn about yourself, to find, people that you relate to, that it's one giant audience coming together with a common idea in mind. It has the same gravitas as music and, certain like fandoms where it's like, oh, we're all coming together over this common thing, over this one thing that we all love. When it hits right, when it's done right, it's fucking beautiful. There's some matches where you just like, you watch it and you're like, oh my God, dude. Like, I wonder what it would have been like to just be in there. Like, you can feel it through the screen. You can feel, people coming together, and it's like, oh, that's our guy.
What match is that for you?
So the one that made me cry, because it was beautifully done, was Bayley and Sasha, the NXT Brooklyn match. That is the one match that made me cry as I was watching it for the first time. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, this is so well done. The characters were perfect. Sasha was just this giant bitch, that ran the show. Bayley was the fan. She was us. She was the kid that wrote about how much she loved wrestling in school. When, like, we all know wrestling wasn't a cool thing to talk about in school. You got made fun of if you were a wrestling fan. Like, wrestling was not hip for most of the time. Like, at least when I was growing up, like, my schooling was post Attitude Era, towards the end of Ruthless Aggression. So, like, I started watching wrestling on a regular basis in 2007. I was in 3rd grade. Was never cool to talk about wrestling after like 4th grade, 5th grade. But here's this thing that I love so much that has been a part of my life since I was like a baby in diapers. It's tied to my family. It's tied to, my dad and my relationship with him and my brother. Like, it's deep, and I can't just all of a sudden throw that away. you know, and because you hold on to it, you get looked at differently, because it's looked at as fodder for some people. It is like kind of like throwaway entertainment. Wrestling attracts like interesting people. You get good people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting next to living proof of that. You get good people in this business. There are good people in wrestling, but wrestling is showbiz. Like,
it's a business.
I mean, it's a business. Which show business? Which word is bigger?
Show or business?
Yeah, is the line I heard. I think from Freddie Prince Jr. But
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Which Freddie? Prince Jr. Oh,
as I heard it go on, I was like,
yeah, but yeah, like it's, you know, you get certain people, and sometimes you learn lessons the hard way from people that you get involved with, and I guess the only thing you can do is take it and be smarter when you encounter something like that again. Wrestling has taught me a lot. You know, you have to kind of take yourself out of the bubble that you create. I think, at least in wrestling, so many people are caught in wrestling is who I am. And if you really think about it, that's not a life that at least I want to live, where wrestling is everything. If you have nothing else besides wrestling, I feel like you're missing something, you know? And as a person, as a human, I've kind of had to discover that myself, of what do I have outside of this thing? What do I have? And that's the question now that I ask myself. And if I'm not happy with that, wrestling takes a back seat, you know, because that's my life. That, like, this over here, that's my life. That is, when wrestling is done, that's what I'm going to have. When you're young and you get into it, I got into it when I was 19. So, of course, like, I hadn't learned yet. Hadn't learned about just the world in general.
Life outside.
Yeah, man, I was kind of, you know, when I was growing up, I was kind of sheltered. My mother was very devout in her faith. My dad as well. My dad worked at a mega church. He wasn't a deacon or a pastor. He was the maintenance man. He was the maintenance director, I should say. I grew up around church, but like as a business, you know, I saw that it wasn't just about the sermons that were preached. It was also about the events. It was also about getting people to those events. It was also about the tithing. It was also about, you know, the back office functions, getting all the logistics, you know, in order. Of course, like growing up there, you know, you're not allowed to be around certain things. No Harry Potter, no Yu-Gi-Oh, no Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon. Went to church every Sunday when I was growing up. When I was 18, you know, I started to do other things on my Sunday mornings. Just because, you know, that's what happens. And once I moved to Houston, my sophomore year at college, that's kind of when I started to see life, like the world started to shape for me. I was not on my own. I was living with my aunt and uncle, but I had my own space. They let me live my life. They let me live. And wrestling was always the thing that I wanted to do with like my life after school. You know, I always wanted to get in the ring.
So my name is James Blackheart. I'm the RGV Sports Show champion. That's bad to the bone. And I had a question for Teflon Jon Bedlam.
Just Teflon Jon.
It's Teflon Jon.
Just Teflon Jon.
I had a question for you, Teflon Jon.
Okay.
Do you ever find yourself thinking that you can do better than what you're watching on TV?
No, I don't. I never look at a product and I'm like, I can do this better than this person. But what I do.
That's always a nice one.
What I do is I look at it and I say, hey, if I was ever in this situation, if one day I did have a mic in my hand with this person in the ring with me, what would I do? You know, what would I do? Not what would someone else do. What would Teflon Jon do? What would Teflon Jon say? I say like, okay, my character is this. What would that character do in this situation? What would he say? What is the problem that my character has with this person? It's hypothetical stuff, right? Like anybody who's truly devoted to this art will look at what they're watching and be like, oh, like I do see myself there, but I don't see myself like him or like them. I see myself like me. I see myself in the situation. Okay, I'm going to do this instead, or make this my own. If I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it in a way that I would say it. You know what I hate when people say it? I hate when they say, I'm back. You know? Like,
have I ever been back?
It's so, God, it's so, like, it's so overdone. And everybody says it, and it's become this, like, almost like this trope in wrestling of, I'm back. You know, something happened, but I'm back.
Pop.
Like, yeah, woo, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
why don't you say something cool? You know, my expedition has ended. You know, like something.
I have
like, what
returned.
Like what? Excuse me?
We need a lesson from Britney Spears because hers is it's Britney bitch.
Yeah,
she doesn't say I'm back. She says it's Britney bitch.
See, but that's something like
that's different.
You know, finally the Rock has come home, or finally the Rock has come back to wherever
the city is.
Yeah, but I just hate like the I'm back thing because it's so like everybody says that. So you say something that you would say, like, hey, you know, like, hey, daddy's home. Like, like I think people have said that a couple times. Like, but it's cool, you know. Like if it fits that character,
Yeah.
you know.
I would say, ¿Qué onda?
Yeah.
¿Qué onda?
Orale, you know, something.
Oh no, wrong one.
Oh, man.
Thank God for editing.
A good one that people should use or someone should use is Ya llegó por quien lloraban.
Ya llegó por quien lloraban.
Ya llegó por quien lloraban.
Perros.
What does that mean?
I don't know how you
If you translate it like literally, it says the one you've been crying for has returned or has arrived.
Has arrived.
Has
Wow.
arrived.
Who you've been crying for has arrived.
So
I'll have to write that down. Use it on the north side.
you know, ya llegó por quien lloraban. So you know, I wanted to ask you, John. So you know, you've been doing this for what, 6 years, 7 years?
Yeah, it's 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay. From the beginning to now, what would you say has been your proudest moment?
I think in ring, my proudest moments have been when I can feel that the crowd is invested. Where no matter who it's with, no matter who I'm wrestling, there is a certain part of the match where you do something, and it's usually off a kick out. Every so often, you can feel the crowd like rise to a different level. You know, like they were here, but then after that, they were up here, and they stayed up there. And when I feel that, I'm like, oh, okay, we got him. Now just hold on, we got him. You know, those are the moments that I'm proud of in ring. Altogether, I think the thing that I'm most proud of myself for, there was like a situation a couple years ago where some people came in and, you know, kind of took advantage of me and my friends, and like we needed a way to vent, I guess. And this was like the first time that I had ever really like gone in with a promo. It was something that we filmed in a shop in a mall on a Thursday night. Nobody in the building. It was me in a ring. I started talking, man, and I don't know, like it felt the realest it's ever felt. I talked about, seeing my best friend in the car on the way back from a show because he got his lights, knocked out, and him putting sunglasses on when it's like 12:30 at night because like his head is so fucked up that he's like not trying to fall asleep. Like he can't have too much stimulation, and I'm sitting there as the driver watching my friend's dream die in front of him, in front of me too. And like seeing that look in someone's face, like knowing like, yeah, I'm done. And like having that realization, drawing from, the way that wrestling entices you in, how it like says like, hey, come here, you can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money, but then once you're in, it's not as easy as it looks. But once you're in forever, no matter how hard you try to run, no matter how like much you want to live a normal life, it's a bug. It gets you. And it was this 6-7 minute thing where it was like, man, anything that I ever wanted to say in a promo, I just did. I had never felt more comfortable than when I did that, when I made that, when we put it out, because it was like a group thing. It was an effort. It was, something that was a stamp in time of like, this was something that happened to all of us, and this is what we made from it. I knew that was going to get me a lot of heat.
Because you were being real.
Yes. It was going to get me a lot of heat because like certain people knew what I was talking about.
You kept it vague in the promo?
I never mentioned any names. I mentioned what they did.
Yeah. So whoever did it knows.
So whoever did it, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Whoever went through it too, they know who I'm talking about. But something, I got a couple messages from some of the boys after we made that. Hey man, you said what I've been thinking. Like I didn't know if anybody was ever going to say something like that, but you did. And that takes guts. Like I commend you for that. That means that my words, what I do here, has impacted somebody that I respect.
If you had the opportunity to speak with anybody who was in the position that you were in when I first met you, you were 2 years in.
Yeah.
If you were to meet someone who's 2 years in, and I don't know, just some words of advice for someone who's 2 years into local wrestling, wanting to make it big, or at least having the dream of getting signed.
Yeah. I would say to that young person, stick to your guns. Guard your heart. Be careful. Be smart. Separate wrestling from life. Make wrestling its own thing. When you go to wrestle, go to wrestle. Do not go to gossip. Do not go to talk about, who's did this on what. I kind of did that, and I got, not obsessed, but I got worried about the wrong stuff. And that's partially because I care about wrestling, and I would really love wrestling to be something that is respected by everyone. Because like we said, it wasn't cool to grow up and be a wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. Like, I would love if you could walk down the street and openly say you were a wrestling fan. And
get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
carry the flag.
Yes, yeah. I would love if you could, if wrestling wasn't looked at as like this redheaded stepchild of sports. I would love if people saw wrestling the way we saw it. And part of that is because you hear these stories of people getting, like screwed over for money, or you hear about the crazy stories on the road, the antics of some of our heroes. You get this disillusionment.
Yeah.
And it kind of mutters the image of the sport as a whole. And I would love if all of that wasn't around. I'm not saying that it would probably happen, because wrestling is wrestling. It's still show business. You're always going to get people that have ulterior motives. But man, it would be nice if we could find a way to get that done.
What's that driving force inside of Teflon Jon? That brings all of that out of you, like down to its core. Like there has to be like a motivator within you that makes you, and what you do, what it is that you do.
That is why I do the voodoo that I do so well.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, for me personally, I can't speak for Teflon Jon. I think the thing that drives me is being at peace with myself. When I first got into wrestling, I wanted to keep my soul. I wanted to make sure that I did this without taking advantage of anybody, without, stepping on toes or being, a shark or a politicker. I wanted to treat people right. I wanted to treat people with respect. I wanted to make them feel valued. And I feel like that now is the driving force for me of I want to create a place where other people can do their thing. And I can have a hand in that. But I know at the end of the day, it's not about me. But I also know that in the spot that I'm in, a bunch of people are looking to me. And they are looking at me as an example now. And that's another kind of driving force. I am in my position for a reason. So because of that, I can't slack. I cannot, do this half-ass. I cannot take shortcuts. And that's something that I've had to kind of tell myself recently, because I've caught myself, not doing as much as I could.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, and you start to do it, and you start to lose yourself. You kind of start to lose your drive. But now, knowing that I'm in a position, if I'm the champion at this place, and there are these guys and girls that come in and just absolutely wreck themselves, and for me to be in a prominent spot in the main event or with a championship and not give everything that I have is not respectful to them. Because I know what I can do. I know my strengths. And the thing with United, like I kind of get to like play a little bit, just the things that have been in my head since I was young. If you took these, or like even just seeing something and naturally thinking, oh, hey, that'd be a good idea. Not even something from the past, but just like something that you kind of think of on the spot. I'm like, ooh, that's good. That's good for that person. That's good for this person. Not so much thinking for stuff for myself, but if I see like, oh, these people are wrestling, and there's like, this person is this person, like they're this character. This person is that character. Oh, what about this character over here? I feel like he like naturally would have a problem with this person. Or like this story's going on. How do we interject this person in there? How do we make it all make sense also? How do we make it look like it's not just whatever?
I have a question. So what if, this is done with United, which it's independent wrestling. Mm-hmm. How do you talk to these wrestlers and ask them where their character's mindset would be? Or like, is this like, do you propose this to them and let them decide? Or is it like you're the director and you tell them this is your line, this is your...
No, I'm never going to tell a worker or a wrestler how to do their thing. Never. Because I hate when people do that for me. If it's something that in the meeting has been discussed of like, hey, we'd like to get this across, then yeah, go to him and be like, hey man, this is the idea, but you do you out there, man. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I never want, like someone asked me for approval on something last show, and I was like, no, don't ask me for approval, man. like, dude, I'm the last person to be approving anything. I'm just an idea guy. And like, I'm not here to take credit for anything. The credit goes to the locker room, because they've showed up consistently for months, and they have built a really solid show. We have one more show this year, and I'm really excited. It's cool to see the whole, I like to call them seasons. You know, like this is season 1, and we're wrapping up season 1 on November 11th. And you know, it's Veterans Day. Stud Stash is, you know, Iraqi veteran.
Yeah.
It's a perfect end for the season, and then you get to think about season 2. And I think that's kind of like, you asked me how I look at it now. I look at wrestling for what it actually is. It's television. It is a story that is drawn out in separate parts. You know, when we started in March this year, we had an idea of what we wanted to do for the whole year. Kind of like a base idea of like, okay, we want this to happen. All right, how are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? And you kind of lay out, okay, this is going to happen this month. The next month, let's think, this makes sense, you know, and this would get people like invested. Okay, let's do that. When we do that, here's this idea that we can add on top of it that will get them even more invested to come to this idea the next month. You know, just like playing with that. And now November is kind of the culmination of season 1 of like everything that you've seen so far leads to this. You know, this is not the be all end all, but the blow off for what you've seen for the last year. And then when we come back in March of next year, that is season 2. And it's nice to have like the break. It's nice to have the month period, because it's, you know, it's in the yard.
Yeah.
So it's outside. No one wants to wrestle in December or January. Heck, even November is a stretch, man. Sometimes November gets cold out there and you're like, nah, I'm not bumping tonight, man. Like, give me a drop kick. I'll powder to the outside instead. Like, I'm not touching that canvas.
But that's why it's also important to know your audience, because you're creating these ideas and you don't know if they're going to go over or not. In your head, they're great ideas. That's why you're going with them. Mm-hmm. But the audience can consider it a flop, or they bite into it and they take it all in. Yeah.
And I think part of that is kind of like what we talked about earlier, knowing where you are. When I feel like most wrestling shows just do wrestling because they want to do it there in wherever place they are, but they don't take their place into account. The thing with United is it's in the south side of San Antonio. It is a area of culture. It has its own feel to it. You know, the people have their own feel. The community has this aspect of, you know, familia. It is puro San Antonio. It is, you know, the heart, the center of that city. Like the ring, the yard is maybe 10 minutes from downtown. That area of the yard, like in south side San Antonio, like there's a lot of culture there, like a lot of stuff that, you know, as a native, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that, you know, like the murals on the side of the buildings, you know, all the Spurs, the like paintings of the Spurs players and you know, like shrines to Coach Pop and stuff like that, stuff that is city, like it is our city. There's so much stuff over there that, oh, okay, these are the people in our crowd. Oh, we have some wrestlers that these people will connect with. Like these people from this side of town, you know, there are people in our locker room that if we put them in front of these people, oh, they're going to clamor to them, you know, because of who they are. And I think that's kind of given us something that you don't find anywhere else, because we're literally in the neighborhood. We make it a thing where people can line the streets with their cars. You know, we talk to the church down the street for parking. Like we asked the church
for a wrestling show.
Yeah, hey, can people park here, please? You know, and they let us
having a death match.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Somebody's gonna go through thumbtacks tonight. By the way, can we use your parking lot?
What's funny about that is Mel and I went to that show in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And we asked a guy that was outside as we were pulling up if we were okay and what we were wearing. We were like, this is a church. And we weren't dressed.
I was like, excuse me, I'm wearing a crop top. And he's like, you're fine.
And I'm wearing a skirt.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is like wrestling's run in crazy places. You know, like wrestling has a very Field of Dreams mentality of like, if you build it, they'll come. Yeah. You could put a wrestling ring in a bar, in a barn, in a warehouse, in a VFW hall. You put it in a bingo hall. You could put it in
parking lot.
A parking lot. You could put it in
backyard.
A backyard. You could put it in
a theater.
A theater. You could put it in
a restaurant.
You could put it in
in the middle of the lake.
In the middle of the lake, an armory, you know.
Cool. A floating wrestling ring?
Yeah. But like you could put it anywhere, you know, and if you can put it anywhere, why would you not make your setting a character itself? Yeah. You know, the best shows, television wise, make their setting mean something. You know, you watch Breaking Bad. He lives in Albuquerque, which is right close to El Paso and Juarez, which is like drug smuggling capital of the world, at least in that show. You know, there's a reason he's in Albuquerque. The Sopranos is in Newark, New Jersey, which is right close to New York City, home of the mafia. Makes perfect sense for the show. And it plays a role in who those people are, what they care about, what their values are. It has its own place. And so when you have a show that has something so unique that some people kind of like look down upon, you know, because you hear backyard wrestling, you're like, oh, that's trash baggers. That's, you know, the lowest of the low. But we were kind of the vein of like, what if you take a backyard, you put a wrestling ring in it, you dress it up to where people can sit comfortably. You line it with like vendors. You line it with people that are talented, that make food, that make art, that make, you know, crafts, that make things that people would want to buy. What if you lined it and you put them out there and then you had a wrestling show as like the entertainment? That's what United is. United is not just a wrestling show. United is a showcase of talented people from San Antonio. Wrestling just happens to be the entertainment. You know, the show is about the city. It's about the people in the city. It's about the heart of the city, what the city's values are. You know, I've lived in that city my entire life. So has Rob Love. So has Stud Stash. So have many other people in our locker room. And we know what San Antonio is about. We know that city like the back of our hands. Like it is part of us. And we have tied the city's identity into our show, you know, and we can now tell stories based on the identity of the city, based on the area that we're in. And the cool thing is, it's not just the south side. There's a west side. There's a east side. There's a north side. Could you imagine an independent promotion that had 4 different like types of stories based on what side they were on? And all of a sudden, like, oh, here comes the guy from United East Side, you know, going up against the champ from United West Side. Like, what is it? Like, what is going on? But it makes sense. Yeah. Because it's all like, it's all the same city. It's a United 210. You know, like
you're basing it around the region itself.
Yes.
And that's the connection with the audience.
And you can do so much.
And that can be done with any city, with any town, with any region, any area.
And I feel like, man, if people would just look at it like that, instead of the very short term, like, we're going to run a wrestling show because we want to see these matches. We want to see, you know, this guy wrestled this guy, and we're just doing wrestling for the sake of wrestling. Hey, man, wrestling's cool. Like, those shows are cool. They have their place. Like, hey, you want to see X take on Y? Hey, by all means, man, book it. Go nuts. Tell me when it is. I might buy a ticket. But if you want something that you can come back to and understand, you can... you can come back and understand. You can be like, oh, this guy is a dick. I don't like him. I want to see him lose. I like this guy. I want to see this guy kick that guy's ass. When you get that makes wrestling what it is at its core. That spiritual experience.
You take a restroom break.
Yes.
I'm dying.
You know, a lot of us older guys think, like, if I knew then what I know now, you know a lot, dude. Like, you are wise beyond your years, and I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, well, let me be the first to tell you, which, you know, and you're only 25 years old. You've got a long life ahead of you. You know now what some of us wish we knew then.
Yeah. Not by choice. It's a blessing and a curse. You know, I
What's
don't
the
know.
downside?
I guess sometimes you kind of beat yourself up over it. Of like there's an internal price to knowing the lessons. I heard someone call it expensive knowledge one time. There is, like you learn all these things, and it makes you grow as a person, and you do things differently, and you become smarter. Lessons learned were learned from something, and you're the only person that knows, like, how you felt. You're the only person that knows, like, what your mentality was when X happened, when this happened. Only you can recreate that experience in your head. Yeah, I wish there was a way to have learned what I learned without having to have gone through what I went through. Don't we all?
Yeah.
You know? Don't we all?
But we also have to remember that, you know, it's our journey. It's our own individual journey, and what we feel and suffer through may not be as intense for someone else, or maybe 10 times more intense for someone else. Exactly. If it was a similar situation. Yeah. And I think what's important is to take care of yourself, yes, but also to consider others and their possible experiences that have led them to where they are.
Yeah.
You know, with that, let's go ahead and make a toast. Okay. Mr. Teflon Jon, a toast to what? What?
A what?
What are we toasting to here?
What or who? Yeah, it could be a who. And that who doesn't necessarily have to be wrestling related. Just any who deserves a toast in your eyes.
Okay.
No who from Whoville.
Well, I'll do a what and a who. Okay.
That's a first.
That's a first.
Look at me.
What about a how?
And then we'll know where.
What about a why and a where? You know, and a maybe. I will toast to the Who, not the band.
That's a good one.
The Who.
The giggle.
I chuckled. Boys chuckle, okay?
It was a giggle, sir.
It was a giggle.
I will toast to my oldest brother, retired Lieutenant Colonel Rudy Cancino. He just turned 50 years old last Sunday.
Wow.
And yes. And on his birthday, I called him, and I was an absolute mess. I was broken, like defeated. Felt like I had my shit ripped out of my chest. And on his birthday, he could hear over the phone that something was wrong with his little brother. And it was the first time in my 25 years that I had ever sat down over the phone, you know, because he lives in DC. I'm here in Texas. Over the phone, the first time I had ever sat and talked with my brother about anything that was going on with me. And it was the first time that he could hear as a brother that I needed his help. And he took the time out of his day to sit down and talk with his brother. And nothing else mattered. Nothing else was more important. I was the most important thing to him for 30 minutes. And because of that 30 minutes, it's helped me grow. It has helped me move past what was keeping me, down. It has helped me, get back in touch with what I need, with what I want. Just something so simple as, taking 30 minutes out of his day to do something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. So he is the who. And the what, I will say, to those that will legitimately always be there, to those that you can trust, to those that you believe in, and to those that believe in you. Salud.
Salud.
And happy birthday!
Hey, gracias, vato. Thank you, man.
I can't do the carbs.
Is it going to go right to my thighs?
Candles? Light them bitches up.
Another thing that needs to be mentioned is the way Mr. Teflon Jon here is the one who inspired this podcast.
Yeah, you haven't. Have you told him?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes. She briefly mentioned this to me. Yes, I didn't know that this whole show stemmed from when Mel came to see us at United a couple months ago. So I feel honored that a small conversation helped you guys start something that I feel has a lot of potential. Like I told y'all before we came on, you guys have something with just the way that y'all talk about wrestling, the way that it's a totally different perspective that no one out there has, because it's two ladies that we're not like what is the word, like
involved.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Not involved in wrestling, not surrounded by wrestling, like
they didn't grow up
around it. So it's like, no one has that perspective. No one's coming on the air and talking about wrestling from that point of view. And
to their credit, they always tell me like, oh, we don't know if we should be saying that, or we feel like we got to look more into it. Like they don't want to disrespect pro wrestling. They don't want to come in thinking they're know-it-alls. Like they have questions. They want to know.
It's something that we're very conscious about and self-conscious about. Is that it's new to us and we don't want to speak out of place.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to us. It's fun to us.
Well,
so here we are.
This is wrestling. Everybody speaks out of place all the time. So I wouldn't worry about that. But just know that, like, if you guys really want to, this is something that you guys could run with. Just the way, like, the angle you're taking of getting to know who these people are, rather than, why they're wrestlers, or, like, what was your favorite match? What's the favorite match you've had? No, like, it's about who you are.
Yeah, we're asking, like, what are you proud of? What have you created that you're proud of? Not don't tell us about the other guy that you wrestled. Tell us about you. Mm-hmm. What makes that brain click, you know? And when Mel came to me with that proposition after she spoke with you, she came to the conclusion that there's like a lot of conversations to be had, a lot of stories to be told, a lot of history that has not been told about the area that we live in, the area that we work in.
Mm-hmm. Like Alvaro knows, the things that are important are the things that you keep after.
Yes.
You know, after the conversations are done, after the bumps are done, you know, wrestling bumps, you know,
not the
yes.
Both kinds. Just kidding. No. Just the wrestling.
Wrestling bumps. Yeah. You know, when all that's over, like, hey man, I live with someone that I used to wrestle with, you know, someone that I used to wrestle for, like their relationships that I have kept when all that's done, you know, that is what you take with you. And the more you sit down and talk with these people that you're around, the more you get to know them, the more you start to care about them, the more you feel connected to them. And the good thing about this is that it is a genuine connection because you are sitting across from them as you talk to them. You know, you get to see the whole person, as opposed to on stage or in ring, you only see what you're presented with. You know, this is such an intimate thing.
Yeah.
To be sitting here and like you see me talk about certain things. You see what gets me, you know, riled up, what I get passionate about, what tugs at my strings.
And not only that, John, but like so does the audience. And we're not just talking about an audience of wrestling fans. We're talking about, you know, professional wrestlers, people who are in the industry, regardless of the level they're in.
Yeah.
They are listening because they want to grow within this sport.
And that's how you should be. That's how you should always be.
Now let's get some cake.
Yes.
Queremos
yes,
pastel, pastel, pastel. We should watch Spice World. The girls. I knew the girls were going to react like that.
I didn't finish Pee-wee last night.
I told her she'd like Pee-wee's Big Holiday. Have you seen it, John?
I've never seen Big Holiday, no.
No?
Big Top?
No, I've never seen Big Top. I only see Big Adventure. He's like, what's missing from this picture? It's just me without my bike.
Big Adventure.
Okay.
Is that the one where he goes to the Alamo?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Nice to see you, Pee-wee. I forgot that guy's name, but he's the villain.
You know, I was so hurt for Dottie. Like, he never reciprocated her feelings.
Why do you think?
And she was so nice.
Why do you think?
Noel said he's selfish.
I said he's a self-care king. Like, he looks out for number one. Like, you have to appreciate that.
It's about him. He wears the same thing every day. There's like a reason for it. You know? There's
main
like,
character energy.
Yes.
Yes.
Bart Simpson.
There you go.
You know, with that shot of Bart Simpson's closet with the red shirt and the blue shorts, like 6 different ones.
That's like Doug.
Yeah. Or
That's my favorite.
Seinfeld, the woman with the scoop neck dress that wears the same thing every time they go out.
You know, I had never seen Seinfeld until I met Mel. Like, when I was a kid growing up, it would come out on TV, but the jokes would just go over my head.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit. And even now, sometimes they go over my head, but my wife explains it for me, and I like it now.
No, it's it was definitely a staple in my house.
We come from an era that we used to, we couldn't just decide, I want to watch Seinfeld at this hour and watch it. You had to wait. You would look at the TV guide and wait till 5 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever, to see the episode. You didn't even know what episode was going to come out.
Well, we thought TiVo was great. Like,
I
can watch this later. That's great.
Can't watch it now. Watch it later.
Yeah.
I remember one called Voom or something like that from like 04.
Voom?
It was kind of like TiVo, but it was called Voom. But it was supposed to be like the first kind of DVR before TiVo, and then it shot down.
I
Like
don't
it
remember.
shot like real fast. Like my dad got DirecTV or Dish like right after that. He was like, "No, I'm not going. No, that was stupid.
So that was like
dumb idea."
That was like the Pamburger partner.
Hamburger
Yeah.
partner.
To the hamburger helper.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Hamburger Partner? It's a real thing.
No.
Nothing like that. Over at my house, we used to get Hamburger Helper all the time. But then, like when times got tough, we didn't have Hamburger Helper. We had Hamburger Partner, and it tasted just the same. It was just cheap.
It's like the Hill Country Fair.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, grape drink.
Parade. Yeah.
Or
The parade
grape
brand.
soda.
The Dave Chappelle skit where he says that it's sugar water purple.
Those are the ingredients.
Wow.
To the
Sugar,
grape drink,
water,
it's just
and
sugar,
purple.
water, purple. There's